Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, after successfully taking the Barbaresian city of Toradana, the party returned to the siege camp and began to organize the aftermath of the battle and the things they learned from it. The party has concluded that Caleb's father indeed was somehow brainwashed during his time in Mibusram prison to be triggered into becoming the Wolfhound on an unknown commanding stimuli. For now, placing him in a quarantine to cut him off from his non-party loved ones. Caleb takes the prisoner and army back to Rosewick with intent of formalizing his conquests and organizing his affairs of the homeland before the ball returns you back to the foreign front. Meanwhile, Lucian and Zephyr busy themselves at the encampment, making any preparations they wish to make before the ball arrives. And What's-His heads halfway across the continent back to Errant in order to return the bodies of the fallen paladins to their homeland. With the Winter Ball a short way away, your final preparations are upon you. If you wish to attend, then whatever preparations you make may decide the fate of future politics. As it stands, you have 10 days remaining before the time arrives. However, you will recall from the summer ball that the ball itself typically lasts for almost a week before everyone officially goes home. So not arriving on the first day is not the end of the world, but, politically it is important that you attend in some capacity. That being said, Lucian and Zephyr at the siege camp. Is there any final preparations you wish to make before, once the time comes, you've, by whatever means you choose, make your way to the ball?
I have a lot that I want to do, so Austin, if you want to go first, you may. What did you say?
I'm good.
You're good? There's nothing you want to do?
Nope.
That makes sense. All right.
All
In
right.
that case, Lucian, what do you wish to do?
Well, as I bring out my notes, I would like to gather Queen Sundragon and Queen Autumnfall for a meeting.
Okay. Very doable. Zephyr, do you wish to be present for this as well?
Sure, I mean, I'll at least listen in. Probably just be there, sit in the corner.
All right. Yeah, all right. Gotta be in the rogue's natural habitat, brooding in the corner. All right. Lucian, as you call in the queens for a meeting, Zephyr listening from a nearby corner, kind of out of sight and out of mind. Queen Sundragon gives you a cheerful smile, Lucian. Autumnfall just kind of raises an eyebrow, kind of crossing her arms and slightly pursing her lips.
Classic.
Yes.
All right. Well, ladies, if you would like, take a seat. There's a couple of things that I want to discuss with you guys.
Quite audacious of you to call a meeting with your superiors and demand our attention, but I'll bite. And she takes a seat. Agnes, for her part, just plops herself down across from you with a wide smile, hands on her knees, looking for all the world just like a cheerful kid, just like kind of idly listening to something interesting. Don't be a sourpuss, Ray. What you got, Lou?
All right. So I have been making. I have a list. She has like a piece of paper that she's like waving around. I've made a list. So I have three categories here. We have the Western Alliance that we know everybody is in, that is in the Alliance. I have the list of everybody that we know is in the Concord. And then I have a long list of people we have no idea where they stand. So I think that we need to take this opportunity at the ball to kind of suss out, where people are standing, if they are going to stand with us or if they're going to stand with the Concord. Now, that being said, you know how I was talking about like this council idea that I was having?
Right.
So, what I am thinking is that there are very specific people that I would like to speak with that I think that would be within our best interest to have on our side. Which would be she kind of like looks at her list. I think the Wison would be really good for us.
You can
I
see
also
Oddball actually kind of brightens up at that. The Tsar would make a good ally to have. I
I do.
certainly would hate to have her as an enemy.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was thinking too. And I think Denouement would be really good for an ally.
Denouement? Seriously?
Yeah, I do.
Miss Alefikir, I hate to question your judgment, but Denouement may just, how do I put this politely, slow us down, make an embarrassment of the Alliance. It'd honestly be better to have him as an enemy than an ally.
Tell me how you really
Yes,
feel.
along those lines.
Tell me how you really feel, right? Jeez. Okay, well, I mean, we can, kind of suss that out. I also think that it would be good for me to make connections with the Queen of Wicket. They've kind of always been on the fence, Um, and I think with my history with them, would give me kind of like a foot in. Um, and I also think Dimebug because we already have Blackthorn, kind of. And I think that like with a little bit of initiative, that these countries would be agreeable to join the Western alliances. And I'm thinking with the, kind of like the offering of, my whole idea of like this council is that everybody from, all of the different countries that are in the alliance would appoint somebody that they would trust to make, and help make decisions. And everybody would make a decision not based on what would be helpful for the individual, but for as Yav as a whole. The reason I say this is because it seems to me that the Concord's whole deal is to tear down Yav and to like kill everybody, right? So to me, it makes sense to strengthen our allies and create this council where we could, kind of push back on that. Does that make sense?
The two of them kind of look to each other with slight, kind of unreadable expressions, but when Agnes looks back to you, she gives you a kind of almost guilty looking smile and, Lou, we've talked about this. It's a really nice thought, but do you really believe that we could motivate the rulers of Yav to be so selfless? At the end of the day, even us here in this room with you are out for our individual interests. Survival just happens to coincide with that.
Well, I mean, it's a start, right? I mean, if we can get everybody in the same room, we could at least make a discussion about what would be best for everyone, not just for ourselves. I know that it's a I know it's a huge ask for, especially for Yavik people. I understand that. But I
We've been
do
getting
think,
in the same room twice a year, every year, for the past century, and have made no progress. If
yes,
anything,
but
things have only gotten worse.
yes, but these the reason it has worked out that way is because not everybody is aligned. I'm talking about strengthening our alliances with these other people that are kind of like still on the fence, that kind of have been like interested in joining the alliance, and I think that the more alliances that we have, the more chance that we have to survive, like you said, which I think is a big enough initiative for anybody in the off.
You'd be surprised. Well, I'm not opposed to the concept, but it'll be largely up to you to make it happen. It's not like we haven't tried. We reached out to everyone to form the alliance in the first place, and only 4 kingdoms accepted, and only 2 of them showed initiative to help.
Yes, that was something also I was going to touch on. I think that Shadow Lily may come now that Barbarous is gone. At least that's what I am hoping. I think her biggest thing was that she didn't want to go against him because the whole complication there. And being afraid of him, which is completely understandable. But I think that she may be able to join us now. At least I hope.
We'll have to see. Beyond that, my main concern is your choice of potential recruits. While Tsar Wyson is a excellent choice, she would strengthen our alliance greatly, and our goals do align. I'm afraid I simply don't see the merit in recruiting Denouement or Dimebog. They're 2 of the weakest, most politically vulnerable people in the kingdom.
If we can get Dimebog, it would give Blackthorn more of initiative to be more involved.
Ooh. Agnes kind of glances around to make sure nobody but Zephyr's eavesdropping. She didn't even come out here for family. You really think she's going to come out for a girlfriend?
It's kind of hard to make that call, I think that for her, nothing else matters but her country, which, I think that is a lot of the problems with the individuals of Yav, is that they are only looking out for each other and not for their allies, which is how they are so easily overtaken by the Concord, which is why I'm trying to set this up. If you don't,
you can try. Just don't get your
don't,
hopes up, Lou.
well, if you don't think that Denouement is like strong enough to be in this alliance, I can, I can agree to that. But I do think that if we can get Dimebog involved, it may give Blackthorn a little bit more initiative to hopefully get involved. I that's at least my hope. And what's the harm? The worst that Dimebog could say is no, and the best thing they could say is yes, and then we have an ally.
Well, to be perfectly candid, the worst that can happen is that she reports to her tyrant of a father and feeds information about the alliance to our enemies.
Yes, that was another concern of mine. I don't know how much you know, but you know that Kaloom guy that I told you guys about?
They both nod, raising their eyebrows.
So, he has this, I guess, ability to basically kill her on the spot.
Oh. Well, even more desirable of a recruit then. Our enemy can simply kill her with the push of a button, and that's assuming she lives long enough to spy on us.
That's also a concern of mine, is that she may not be aware that she might have some, you know, spy equipment on her, in her possession, or on her possession, or she might be a whole robot. We don't really know what the situation is, but like that's what a thought of mine. But like the biggest thing was to me that she has connections with Blackthorn, and that could really give us a foot in. And anyways, they could still spy on us either way with, Lucifer being able to like scry and stuff. And the lady also spies on us. So like,
That hardly means we should simply welcome it with open arms, but she kind of glances to Agnes and shrugs. I doubt I have the power to stop you once you've set your mind to something. Just
well, I mean, that's why I'm like consulting you of like what your thoughts are. And that's why I wanted to bring up these points was, I understand the consequences of her possibly being able to spy for one, her dad, and two, the Concord. That is a huge possibility, absolutely. But that's where the whole she can appoint somebody to be on the council for her.
well, if you want my consultation, I think you're looking in the wrong places for allies. I say we turn our attention northward. I do agree with you that Sar Wyson makes a desirable ally. She kind of licks her lips slightly. Not to mention their soon-to-be marriage will only strengthen their political holding. They'll end up as one of the largest kingdoms since Pendidi.
I was thinking with the wedding, it would give me a foot in to be like, "Hey, congratulations! Do you have any future plans?" Like it's like the perfect foot in.
Yeah, I know. I love when people try to talk business with me at my weddings.
That's fair.
Rather than that fool denouement, why don't we invite King Basilius to join us? He refused us last time, but perhaps if we could see what troubles him so, we could acquire great naval power, even if Wyson refuses us.
Lucian kind of like purses her lips a little, not like distastefully or anything, just more in thought, and really just kind of considers what she says. I'm referring to the map here. Do we know who all is going to be at the ball?
Ideally, every noble family in Yav will be in attendance, or anyone aspiring to become one. Any who don't attend will be bringing great disgrace to their house. And in times like these, that's a sacrifice none of us can afford.
I can make connections with Basilius at the ball, and kind of see, like, like you said, what the situation is. Trying to think here.
If I can pitch something.
Yeah, of course.
Instead of trusting the spy with a self-destruct button, how about instead we take a crack at Spear Maiden? Ugh. You would trust those barbarians to enter the Alliance. Hey, they've got the muscle. Boy, do they got the muscle.
I mean, to be fair, don't take this the wrong way, Eki, but, barbarian, and she does pretty good for herself.
Yes, but at least she has a basic sense of decorum and decency.
And what's exactly wrong with Spear Maiden?
Autumnfall kind of scrunches her nose up, and Agnes, though, just gives a wide smile, and she's great. She invades Struth every so often and has her army just take all the handsome dudes she can find.
Lucian kind of like frowns at that. For what purpose?
Spear Maiden is a kingdom of almost entirely women. They need to get the next generation from somewhere.
Oh.
I met her at one of these ball things not that long ago. She's great. One of the few nobles who can drink me under the table. Or at least meet me there.
It would be certainly something to think about. Maybe we could make some type of an alliance, especially if we need their muscle, like you said. It doesn't hurt to have barbarians on our side.
Agnes gives a wide, goofy smile. Autumnfall kind of scrunches her nose, but rolls her eyes.
I mean, in fairness, I also am planning on speaking with Queen Wicket. I do think that would be a very good addition to us.
Oh, that I can agree with you on. Just be cautious. If she gets the idea that our alliance is growing too large and too powerful, she might turn on us.
How do you mean?
Haven't cracked open a history book recently, have you?
Okay, okay. So I need to, I will roll history.
Roll
Fuck
history.
you. What do I know? What do I know? What do I know? 'Cause I am smart.
What?
I will kick you in the... Okay. Lucian Alefikir. Going to my thing here. Because I was still on Omen history. Plus 10. Rolling. Okay. 26.
Okay. You would know that the Wicked Commonwealth is known for not necessarily being aggressive, more protective. Ever since their founding, Wicked has famously held a soft spot for young, up-and-coming kingdoms and factions. The Queen is known for advocating for the empowerment of smaller factions. They were one of the few leaders of the Eastern Alliance to advocate actively for the formation of the Western Alliance nations as they came to exist. But that protective nature can be a double-edged sword. Queen Wicket is known for prioritizing fairness over goodness. A faction that is in the wrong on an issue, but smaller, will be allied with by Wicket simply because she deems it unfair that the other kingdoms are, from her eyes, picking a fight with a smaller, weaker faction.
Aha.
So
Okay.
Autumnfall's concern basically is that if the Western Alliance, if you recruit Wicket, but the Western Alliance gets too big, she might defect to the Concord to make it fair.
Okay. Let me just kind of point this out to you, is that, as you know, she has kind of a soft spot for the underdog, right? So I think that this idea of the council is something that she would eat right up, is because, one, it's not like entirely like, solidified yet. We haven't gotten everybody agreed and appointed. And I think that she would like the fact that I am trying to make things fair by having everybody have their say.
Making everything fair for us, Miss Alefikir. Her concern isn't what's fair among ourselves, but what's fair between the two sides of a war.
Not the whole of Yav?
Her concern was with the whole of Yav. She wouldn't be the queen she is.
Lucian just kind of frowns. I'll keep an eye on her for a little bit, but I think if we can get some other countries, that kind of have been in the middle, and undecided, I think that may give her a little bit. I mean, the less people who are on the Concord, the better, right? I mean, logically.
Of course.
She kind of
Simply something to be aware of.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the feedback and the that is a valid point and that is something to keep in mind. Perhaps it's something for later, I think.
Autumnfall gives a nod. Agnes nods as well, but she has a big smile on her face, which you get that impression of like her inner thought process, something along the lines of like, "Oh, she's learning."
She's so proud of me, yay! I'm happy that she's proud of me.
She proud of me.
She's proud of me, yay!
Well, will there be anything else?
Well, let me just reiterate. For now, I'm thinking at the ball that I will speak if they are there, Shadow Lily and Blackthorn, if they are there, which I'm hoping to the gods that they are. What? Do you think that Wyson would be upset with me with talking with her, like, because like her wedding is gonna be during the ball, so like, I guess my question is, would it be more beneficial to speak with her before the wedding or after the wedding?
Both of them at the exact same time. After. She's going to be busy with planning and making arrangements beforehand. The last thing you need to do is put more pressure on her head.
Yes. Okay, my next question on that front is, I don't mean to sound like a bad person, but how long should I wait to ask her? Not like immediately after. Oh, congratulations! You literally just got married 10 minutes ago. Oh, by the way, here's this information. Like, I know that's bad, but like, Lucian just kind of like looks a little nervous.
Well, I think any time after the ceremony itself should be amendable. But Agnes kind of shakes her head. Nah, you gotta let him wait till the honeymoon's over. You interrupt that, she's gonna be, unhappy.
Do we know when the honeymoon is?
Well, assuming everything doesn't go tits up this time, I imagine, just after the ball. I'd say give him a week or two at least.
I'll look at Ray and what do you think?
She considers for a moment before just nodding and giving a shrug. I suppose it doesn't particularly matter when we ask her as long as it's after, so yeah, perhaps it would be beneficial to be patient with her. It gives us time to organize our own affairs anyhow. Plus, I suspect that His Majesty, the King of Thieves, likely is intending to get in her ear himself.
Lucian kind of frowns. I want to get to her before he does.
Oh, then it's a race. Agnes looks a little worried. I mean, we're all on the same side. Surely we can just work together.
Lucian just kind of looks at her for now. What do you think is going to happen when the ball is over? What do you think is going to happen? Caleb can't stay with us. He has to run his country. Do you really think that he is going to continue this path? I mean, he's already kind of on a path.
As are we all, Miss Alefikir.
I'm not.
She crosses her legs.
Lucian will also cross her legs. I'm not entirely the fan of what path he is currently on. I am saying.
I get the impression none of you are a fan of anyone's paths.
That's fair.
Look, can we just at least get through the party without fighting? The last thing we need to do is be at each other's throats while we're literally surrounded by our enemies.
Lucian kind of frowns. Perhaps it doesn't have to be a race. Perhaps we can speak to her together.
Agnes looks a lot more comfortable at that. Autumnfall just shrugs as if she's indifferent to what you decide.
I'll speak to Caleb when he gets back. See what he thinks.
I suspect you shall. Do you have anything else you need?
Let me check my notes.
Autumnfall kind of raises her eyebrow.
You said Struth, right? Maybe. Well, I mean, if we're getting Spear Maiden, do you think Struth will follow? Because of like the whole exchange there, or
They both kind of tilt their heads in interest. An exchange, you say?
well, with the Spear Maidens, you know, always going over there, you know, and taking their men, do you think that that would stop them from wanting to have an alliance with them? Or do you think that that would, you know, help gain an alliance with them?
You can see Autumnfall actually does just start laughing into her hand. Agnes seems to be visibly holding back a laugh and just...
Lucian just kind of looks like she is absolutely clueless. Why are you guys laughing?
Lou, I'm gonna put this as gently as I can. I can't imagine the Sultan super thrilled about a bunch of hot babes kidnapping his people.
Yeah, that's fair.
I believe an alliance with either of them might be a mutually exclusive affair. I personally would prefer we reach out to the Sultan. His people are disciplined, and he is known to be quite wise.
The Sultan of Struth, you mean?
She nods.
Okay. She kind of makes a mark on her paper. It's a step in the right direction. Because I think if we have, like I said, the more allies that we have, the better at this point.
For now.
Well, I mean, the Concord has really big powerhouses like Wyborn and Gyogre, Aegis, and Giant Country. They have giants on their side. Like, we need, like I said, I think Spear Maiden will be especially helpful with, you know, anything that has to do with that.
I will accept whichever choice you make in allies. I'm just telling you my preference.
I mean, would you be okay with these people as your allies?
I will serve with distinguishment and honor as I always do. I will simply warn you that I will not even attempt to control those women. Nobody controls them but their queen. And frankly, I'm not even certain how far that extends.
Lysian kind of gives a you know, soft, thankful smile. That's a good enough answer for me. What about you, Eggy? How are you feeling about this whole thing?
Honestly, I'm pretty much good with any of it. I certainly think the Hack King Denouement would be an interesting choice, but I've done more with less.
Okay, well, it's a start, and that gives me quite a few people to make connections with at the ball. Do you think there's anybody else that I should make connections with, just to, as a courtesy, I guess?
I would certainly recommend you reach out to all members of the Eastern Alliance. They may be our enemies, but for now they are keeping that fact subtle. The last thing we need to do is openly antagonize them by refusing to play nice. That includes you as well, Agnes. Yeah. Suck up till my nose turns brown. I got it.
We all have to do a little ass kissing. It's fine. Okay. I was planning on speaking with General Gyoger anyway, so that kind of does follow what I was going to do.
Then we're in agreement. If anything else comes to mind, I'll be certain to inform you and convene this council of yours.
Lucian kind of gives a very proud smile. I've been putting a lot of work into this. I really think that if we all put our heads together and that we all work towards a higher goal, I think that this could work.
You can see her eyes kind of glaze slightly at the higher goal idea, but she just kind of nods along.
For the good of Yav.
For the good of my people.
For the good of all people.
Agnes kind of does that like little awkward raising of a fist, like, go team.
I know she's going to be hard to convince. It's fine. Well, Eggy, I don't know about you, but all of this politics is making me thirsty.
She goes to say something, but Autumnfall just immediately, not a word. Agnes pulls herself together, visibly biting her tongue before, yeah, let's get you restocked.
What was that look? As they're like exiting. What was that?
It's like, what was that?
What was that about?
As you and Agnes leave, you can see Autumnfall visibly doing that pinch of the nose of just, I'm surrounded by idiots.
She is.
Lucy's not an idiot. She's just a virgin.
I've met more brilliant virgins. Those.
Yeah, Lucian's one of them.
No.
All right.
Not.
Before we change gears, anything final from either of you at the camp?
No, that concludes my business.
All right, Zephyr?
I have no business to conclude to.
Okay, just want to make sure nothing changed. All right, then. What's is, for your part? It's a route you've traveled before. You know how to get to where you're going, so I won't give you the nitty gritty of all of it. Making your way across the south of Yav, you travel again, basically halfway across the continent before you eventually reach Errant again. And as you put the bodies out to rest, you can see the various knights, all those who betrayed their oaths, watch in solemn, respectful silence as their honor-bestowed comrades are laid to a peaceful rest. It's a quiet, respectful affair, and you can see everyone looking at you with a deeply appreciative gaze as you finish the preparations. They definitely seem to appreciate the efforts you've gone to for, at least as they view themselves, honorless monsters.
Yeah. He gave him his word that he was going to change their you and give them their honor back, and he meant it.
And it appears, even by the metric of their people, in death, they have found redemption. Is there anything of note you wish to do either while you're here or on the way back?
Just that he's going to try to get that outfit that I sent you the pictures for.
Yes.
For the ball, and
Yes,
then head that way.
Yeah, which let me do. If you haven't paid it already, that would be 15 gold.
I will definitely go ahead and pay that if you will subtract me.
Sure deal. Will that be all for you?
Yep, you didn't really have much.
Okay. You start making your way back. Finally, as preparations are made for what lies ahead, we direct our attention now to Rosewick. Caleb, your preparations. Just going over the results of everything not being immediately covered, since there was a lot to go through. You pass word to your advisors to have someone sent to Bullhammer to begin immediately the collection of trade, and for Bullhammer to send an advisor of their own to keep Rosewick posted on their affairs. You send a messenger to Darkrise, hoping to smooth the troubled waters and keep them advised on avoiding this sort of issue going forward. And ask them to bring you back word if Darkrise requests your aid for repairing the damages that the fire created. You speak with your advisors and your general on who to bring and how it will be perceived as for the ball itself, and inform your messengers to meet you at the ship in Tabedra Farms.
Or the ball if they can't make that in time.
So, out of the things to be covered on screen, firstly, your check-in with the blacksmiths who you wish to start learning the art of gunnery. Your advisors luckily have good news to report. They inform you that with the samples you gave them to work with, learning to make them is certainly doable. The main unfortunate thing is that it is neither a cheap nor quick process. They inform you that if you give them a month or two, they could probably teach people in Tabedra how to make and use guns consistently. However, they would need a pretty decent amount of money to get a new black powder expert, since the last one is currently in the wind. So for your reference mechanically, if you wish to start getting Tabedra to manufacture its own firearms, they can, but it will cost you 500 gold and take a couple months per person you're teaching to do the manufacturing. However, they inform you that if that's not amendable, given that Tabedra has never exactly made a point to make its own shit, they inform you that a potential alternative, either through banditry or through simply trying to recruit them, could be getting someone from either Wyson, Gyogre, or there was one more. Had the list pulled up and I lost it. They inform you that if you're able to recruit either a Gyogrin, a Wysonian, or basically any of the major kingdoms that actively use firearms, you could potentially convince someone from one of those kingdoms to come to Rosewick and start manufacturing if they're paid well enough. Bribery goes a long way, after all.
Yeah. Well, let's see. It's 500 gold to get it. Is it 500 gold per person?
Yeah, basically for every person that's going to learn how to make guns for you, it's going to cost you 500.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, it'll take some time. Obviously, they need to deconstruct them, figure out how they work, start making test versions, etc., etc. It's a doable process. Just basically, it takes some time and it's not cheap. Recruiting someone from another more familiar with Firearms Kingdom would probably be quicker, but very possibly even more expensive. So basically, boils down to, do you value more your time or your money?
Well, I think Caleb will go ahead and authorize the payment to start having people learn to make these.
Okay.
He doesn't. How many, like? I guess it's like. Do we know how many blacksmiths are in Rosewick itself?
Rosewick only has 2 dedicated blacksmiths, and only one of them does it like full time. But theoretically, anyone could learn how to do this with that same time and money, so it doesn't necessarily need to be a blacksmith.
I guess Caleb will. He will. He will leave it up to. I guess like his advisors and generals can decide how many people they need to train to start like an initial batch. Basically, like an initial run to see how well it goes and see if there's anything they need to improve on.
Noted.
However, they need for like a starting run, like maybe like enough that like they could maybe. I think they have like 100 gunners as it is, right?
Yes.
Maybe like a small batch enough to add maybe another like 50 to that for now, and then see how that goes, and then from there they can try to expand more, or they could also bring someone in to kind of supplement it as well.
Noted.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you. We can go over the specifics post session, but I will keep note of that. So they'll make the call on just how many and how much it'll take to get you at least 50 armed gunners and enough people to supply them.
And obviously, like that's like the initial one. Then after that, the aim will probably be to make sure we can build enough to supply to maintain the 150.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
maybe
that can be covered afterwards.
Yeah, so he just wants to do like an initial test run, basically. See if we can do this.
All right, noted. Finally, out of the remaining things, you said you wanted to request a meeting with Kino and see if your letter from the Tsar got a reply. Do you have any preference on what you do first?
I guess we'll see what the situation with the letter.
Okay. Luckily, it is good news. The council informs you that the Tsar did indeed respond and hands you what appears to be compared to the more humble one you sent, like relatively speaking, their letter is on this fine, like, velvet colored parchment with like this gold trim to it. Very elaborate, very showy. Between that,
the sense that like they were trying to show off here.
Roll insight.
Oh shit. Here, this tab. I don't need this tab anymore. Caleb character sheet. I forgot to pull up his character sheet. I remembered Twitch, but didn't remember the character sheet. Okay, insight, you said?
Yes.
18.
Okay. Yes, they are 100% showing off. You're not sure. You don't necessarily feel though that it's like deliberately trying to aggravate you kind of showing off, and more like, between that and remember the lavish-ass gift they sent you for your coronation, you more just get the impression that this is just kind of how they are. So they're definitely showing off, but you don't necessarily feel like it's singling you out per se, and they're just kind of
they're showing off, but they're not trying to show up.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Caleb will open the letter and read it.
Very well. Since you haven't met them in person yet, I'll do normal voice for now, which is going to be hard as shit with the way you're with. Anyway. My darling king of southern banditry. I appreciate your enthusiasm, and frankly would honestly welcome your presence at the ceremony. As you've likely heard, we've decided to exchange venues to have our ceremony coincide with the Winter Ball. I expect to see you there, along with everyone else, but given your current status, assuming you're more than half the man your predecessor was, I look forward to discussing repatriations with you. I look forward to a, hopefully, long and profitable future. Oh, and give my regards to whatever literate Tebadron you got to read this to you. See you soon. And you see a little heart and lipstick mark left on the letter.
Caleb's like, I wonder if I should let them continue believing I do not know how to read. Wonder if I could gain an advantage from that somehow.
Yeah, the Jack Sparrow approach.
Yeah.
So, for now, it appears that the Tsar is at least interested in engaging with you further, and you are essentially invited to be in attendance and speak with her at the ceremony. But yes, they certainly do not necessarily seem to have high expectations of you, and you're not necessarily certain what they mean with repatriations.
Yeah, Caleb's hoping some kind of agreement can be come to.
But for now, at the very least, they seem eager to speak with you further. They're either a good liar, and there's something you're missing, or, at least for now, you at least have a tenuous peace, if not something of a potential ally. Any further business before you organize your meeting with Kino?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Sending out word. You make your way out into the garden and wait to see if Kino arrives. And sure enough, you're not left waiting long before you hear the toddling steps of the drunkard, who is visibly drinking a glass from what appears to be your uncle's establishment. An old favorite, it seems. As he enters the garden, he raises his glass in greeting. And
is there a guard that brought him in?
You do see a guard, like, basically watching him from a distance, but he's not, like, grabbing him by the arm or anything.
Caleb will, I guess, just ask the nearest guard, why don't you bring our guests some more refreshment? Because I believe there was a cellar, right?
Yeah, it's starting to get a little emptied, but yeah, there is still a functional one. The guard gives you a bow and runs to do so. Kino stretches, kind of giving a yawn, and downs the rest of his glass before just throwing it off to the side idly. He puts his hands in his pockets and looks to you. All right, little cub. What you need me for this time?
Well, as you know, there is a situation going. There's a bit of a situation with my father that I need to get to the understanding of, and I want to deal with quickly. this arrangement we've had to do is not very pleasing to him. So I
Oh,
want
yeah?
to minimize his time in it. So I'm hoping we can have a pretty productive conversation to understand what has happened.
Yeah, I'll tell you everything I can, mate, but I'll tell you the same thing I told your brother. Not a whole heck of a lot I actually know. But,
Alright.
pick me over much as you like.
First, alright, first insight of this conversation, I'm sure.
Yeah, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of that. Roll insight.
Okay, 21. Wait, yeah, 21. I was double checking my modifier.
He does seem like he's telling the truth about, like, just basically on a factual level what he's saying. But yeah, you definitely get the sense, like, his brow kind of furrows, his eyes narrow. He's definitely displeased that this is the direction of the conversation. Although you also get the impression he somewhat expected it.
Well then, did they ever try any of these experiments on yourself?
Mostly for the black blood thing. Never actually got around to me, though, outside of a little bit of testing to see what stuck. Everyone else in my old crew ended up biting in jail. But I think they were about to get around to finishing me off whenever you lot found me.
Alright, let's see. Let's see. Okay, that's gonna be a 16.
Yeah, he does actually seem like he's being honest on this, as far as you can tell. He was in there for a while. They did do some basic testing on him to probably test his compatibility, even though he probably didn't realize that's what they were doing, and killed off the rest of his party one by one, and just by sheer blind fucking luck, he was the last to potentially go.
So you know nothing of these procedures that were done, correct?
Figured out a little bit of it from what I've seen traveling with you lot. Something about mixing blood together, trying to turn blokes into new blokes.
We know all about those experimentations. But what about... Did you happen to know anything about what they were doing to my father, specifically?
This again, eh? I honestly assumed they were doing much of the same. News to me that they were doing something different.
Another 16.
Double checking. Lying his absolute ass off.
Are you sure about this? That you know absolutely nothing?
I'm not exactly a doctor, mate. And besides, I wasn't even in the room with him when they were doing it. They just dragged him off, and then he came back all quiet and smelling like smoke.
Another 16.
He's telling the truth, but you get the impression he's leaving something out. Like they're like he's being factually correct with, like, the only direct lie he's really said so far is just that he has no idea what they were doing. But so far you get the impression he is being serious, that yeah, they would just drag him off, do the experiment, bring him back. That part he at least seems to believe. There's just a piece missing that you can't put your finger on.
Oh. Were you and my father put in the same cell from the very beginning, or was that something that came later?
Oh, I got stuck in there with me. I'd already been there for years. I kind of looked after Benny. I mean, they were going to eat him alive in there. Soft little boy he was. Someone had to keep him alive.
So your only interest was, I guess, to find a friend in these lonely times, correct?
Well, I could tell Benny was a smart bloke, ingenuitive. Once he got that new arm, strong, fast, sneaky. I figured if anyone was going to help bust me out, it'd be him. That was actually my original plan before you blokes showed up.
Well, Caleb's gonna know for damn sure about that one. Natural 20.
He is definitely telling the truth, at least on this. You are certain of it. Yeah, Bernard ended up in jail after him. He kind of took him under his wing to keep him safe, but it served a dual function of this guy's clearly capable enough to potentially bust me out of here, and he was basically fine-tuning that plan, and then you guys showed up, and it was just like, all right, sure, freedom just dropping in my lap so I don't have to Andy Dufresne this shit, I'll take it.
So what exactly was your plan to escape before we showed up?
Oh, I actually told you about it whenever you were bailing me out, remember? I was gonna find this little lab of theirs and set one of their pets loose. Figured it would keep them busy long enough for me and the boys to get out.
Fairly certain that's the truth, but I guess he could be leaving something out. Okay, 18 plus 6 is...
24, I believe?
Yes, 24.
Yes, he does seem being like... I mean, obviously, you imagine the plan's a little more complicated than that, but yes, he is giving you, like, the fairly honest rundown.
And what were your plans after escaping?
I mean, what are you, one of those Perusian philosophers with the 20 questions? Freedom, man!
Well, freedom is, you know, one of those vague concepts. What were you planning on doing with that freedom? Was there any things you wanted to do? Maybe any grudges you may have held that you wish to repay?
I know what you're getting at, mate, but, I mean, I've not made a secret that I'm not fond of these Concord blighters. I mean, I don't know if, little Kara ever told you much about me, but there's one thing I like everyone to know, is that I'm a big believer in karma. What goes around comes around. And, sure, I was certainly hoping things would come around pretty damn quick, but you said I needed to play nice, so I've kept my hands to myself.
Alright, let's just for completion's sake, 22.
Yeah, actually that does seem pretty honest and straightforward from him. Like, he definitely holds a grudge and hopes the Concord gets what's coming to them for what they did, but you told him to not hurt them, so he's not hurting them.
Was there like a list of names or like names that Caleb's father was repeating, I believe? Right?
I don't. Yes. It was basically just the list of all people known to be associated with the Concord, at least the leaders. So basically, all the big Concord members that you already know of.
Would you happen to know anything about procedures like what they must have been doing on my father? I understand you are pretty well traveled. Maybe you've heard of things in other places?
Eh. Assuming it ain't just magic, I'm afraid you're gonna lose me, mate. I'm more of a fighter than a spellcaster, and from the sounds of it, this isn't really either. If I knew how to work people that well, I probably could find myself a girl.
Okay, 16.
Not only is he lying, you can almost see it in his face. You ever seen someone who clearly wants to brag about something, but is clearly like trying desperately to restrain themselves because they know it'll make them look like an asshole if they start showing off?
Mm-hmm.
He's got that going. Not only does he clearly know what this is, honestly, you gather from his demeanor, he's probably something of an expert.
Are you
And
sure
he still
there's...
doesn't have a girl.
I mean, wait,
Did
Caleb
he go
has...
quiet for anyone else?
I just
wait-
turned him up. He sounds fine for me. Go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, I just thought of what Caleb's gonna... Okay, so Caleb's gonna say... I must say, this kind of work seems... It might be a bit morbid of me to say, but It's almost impressive, this ability of theirs. Somehow be able to bend people to their will like that without using any magic at all. Something that you wouldn't even be able to detect. You know, with magic you can detect it with a skilled sorcerer, but there's no way of knowing until it's too late.
Aye, it's a pretty good plan, honestly. I mean, just think about it. You could get someone into a city, whisper a few words in their ear. Next thing you know, they're running loose, going orc wild, killing anything you like.
And if there's any trouble, well, it comes back on them, because well, not many people seem willing to believe such things. And no one will ever be able to know who is pulling the strings, am I right?
Aye. Honestly, those little dwarves got a lot of brains rocking around in those skulls of theirs. Wish I'd thought of it myself.
Has the guard returned with the drinks?
Yes. At this point, he returns with just bottles outright and a couple glasses just to make it more convenient. But he doesn't even bother with the glass and just snags the bottle of cider.
Caleb will kind of walk over towards the guard to grab a bottle, and while he's doing that, he will quietly. So I guess I could roll stealth to see if I can avoid eavesdropping, but
Yeah, if you're trying to deliberately avoid eavesdropping, yeah, stealth.
which Caleb has advantage on that and proficiency. Okay, that's going to be a 30.
Alright, yeah, you're pretty confident you won't be heard. You obviously stage whisper, but yeah, you lower your voice to a whisper and whisper to the guard.
I want you to bring more guards just outside the door to the garden. On my word, they will come and take this man.
He looks at Kino in surprise, but looks at you and gives a nod. Ah. And quickly kind of
Caleb will
scuttles
give him like a pat, because I assume he had to like. I just imagine like the guard had to like kind of bend over slightly
Yeah,
to Caleb
absolutely.
slowly. Caleb just kind of pats him on the shoulder as he leaves, as he rises up to leave. Come, let us have a drink to celebrate the victory, shall we?
Aye. He uncorks his and gives it one of those little just idle tilts of it to you before starting to chug it down.
Caleb will take a sip.
Oh, that's good. Well, need anything else for me?
Caleb was just going to be like, I guess. I've worked with Carol a long time, and I don't remember getting to talk much about the people she worked with. Why don't you tell me about them?
He actually, most of his expressions, like other than when he's with your father, have so far been fairly neutral to just unpleasant. Like he's just not exactly always in a bad mood, but he definitely just is the kind of person who's like deep in his own head a lot of the time. But at that, he actually does give a smile. And where do I begin? Oh, Kara, she was well, I mean, you know about that. She best shot we've had since, well, me. He kind of shakes his head with a fond smile. We used to all compete with each other back in the day for kills. You know, trying to nail the best shot, the most shots, whatever crossed our minds. And then there was the shark, one of those merfolk. Got himself a pair of legs, started following us around. He was a cold-blooded, mean son of a bitch, but he knew how to take people's heads. That much I could give him. All the social skills of a damn sponge, but, gills will do that to you.
I believe, according to the test, you do know what happened to them, correct?
His expression falls, but he does give a slow nod.
We did a test to find out who they mixed with us. I believe your shark friend was the one that was mixed with me.
Now that you say it, yeah. Yeah, I can actually see a lot of him in you. That same merciless, damn near soulless bloodlust.
I am curious about him.
He gives you a small nod.
What? What was his name?
He gives a smile. Cyprus Axmony. He was a barbarian. Yeah, I mean, I was talking a lot about he was a big guy, but once you got him talking, he was a real sweet guy. Just, he knew what he was good at.
How did how much did he care a lot about the people he, like his party, and anyone else like that?
Oh yeah, I'd never say it to him while the hearts were still beating, but we were like family. We were all we had. Went everywhere together, stuck our necks out for each other many times as we needed to. They traveled with me all the way back to my homeland just to settle the score with my dad. Didn't get nothing out of it. I told them to fuck off, but they said if I was going, they were going, and that was that.
And I'm guessing you said he could be a bit, how'd you say, rough and mean, I guess. I'm sure,
It was
especially if it came down to someone between him and one of you. Am I correct?
Oh, that was the only time I ever saw those eyes go completely white.
So tell me, what do you think your friend would do if he knew someone had done something to one of the members of his party? He knows they're lying to him about what they did and what they're doing and what they know. What do you think he would do to them to get that information? If it meant saving one of his party members' lives, possibly.
Honestly, probably just bite the head off and call it a night. I mean, very literally, for the record, not like, being figurative.
I'm sure. Considering he was a shark person, I'm sure. Have the guards gathered behind the door yet?
Roll perception.
Okay. I really hate that I'm going to have to use this on a perception roll of all things. But I rolled the one thing I couldn't roll. Okay, that's going to be a 21 on perception.
It's been enough time that they probably should have been here, but you don't see anyone yet.
It does seem like he would. There's a lot he would do. It does seem like there is a lot he would do for all of it.
Aye.
By the way, whenever Caleb was, I forgot to ask this in the moment, but like when Caleb was asking that question, the one I'm talking about, did Kino have any kind of reaction he wasn't voicing?
Roll insight.
Okay, 18.
You see that his face goes on this little journey. There's a split second of suspicion, a moment of anger, that kind of searching, like basically you can see him running the numbers in his head of how am I going to get out of this, before his face settles on this unsettlingly calm, just complete acceptance as he just finishes downing his drink.
Would you like another?
Honestly, mate, I think I'm good. And he throws the bottle at your feet. He puts his hands in his
Have the
pockets
slackers finally gotten here yet?
roll perception.
Okay, that's going to be 11 plus 19. That's a 30.
You take another look around, and you see on the walls, in some of the shrubbery, and around the corners, they actually were already there. They were just hiding really well.
Are you sure you don't want to have a drink? Just to talk a little bit more about the situation.
He just gives you a smile and tilts his head. Yeah, I think I'm alright. I'd rather be sober for this. Well, yeah, tipsy anyway.
Caleb will look to the side. God sees him. Did the guards come out?
Yeah. The guards all emerge from their hiding places. Kino just rolls his eyes and holds up his hands. I've seen this before, you know. King gets paranoid, starts trusting much of anyone. I'm sure your daddy's gonna be real happy about this. But he does not resist the guards, other than just basically like struggle to stay standing.
Do you know what's one skill that is very important amongst thieves? To know when someone is lying.
Oh yeah?
You have been lying to me this whole time.
Let's
Have
say
you
I
not-
am for a minute here. What? You gonna torture your old man's best friend? Spill me guts all over your castle floor?
Killing you wouldn't be very advantageous, but I will do whatever you make me do.
Ah, yeah.
If you are forthcoming about what has been done, then I may even let you live or go. Go wherever you wish.
You're so generous, Your Majesty. You sure you want to do it like this, mate? Benny's never gonna forgive you.
Once he knows what you have, if you have deceived him, as I believe you have, he will not be happy. But I am not the one he will not forgive.
Your call, Your Highness.
Take him to the dungeon. Chain him up.
The guards nod and start dragging him back to the castle. Kino just laughs the whole way.
Is there anyone around when this all is going down?
Yeah, you're in the garden. It's by design kind of closed off from the rest of the city.
Yeah. We'll just make sure the guards get him down there.
Which, easily done. The guards take him to the dungeons, strip him of his many, many weapons. But they do leave him just with personal keepsakes, his teddy bear and his diary. For his part, he just lounges in the cell, despite him being in chains.
Your stay here is determined entirely by you. How long it is, and the quality of it. I'm not going to try to question you now. I know now all I'd get is... maybe once you've had a day to sit here, maybe even an entire ball, maybe you'll be more willing to speak. And speak the truth.
Whatever you say, Your Majesty. Have fun at your party. That liquor sucks shit anyway.
And Caleb will make sure the guards know to post. Basically, however many guards you post for a prisoner normally, double it. Just to be sure.
Aye. Aye.
Caleb will leave that situation.
All right. Is there any final business you wish to attend to before the journey to the ball begins?
Caleb was going to. Well, since he's gonna have, I guess, like how many? What was the decision by the general and stuff, and like how many troops we can safely bring without being a problem, without giving the wrong impression?
Well, yeah, so I guess to answer that, honestly, what is the impression you're trying to give off?
Well, he wants things to be, usual business, but in acknowledgement of what happened at the last ball, he wants to ensure that he will. I kind of had an idea that Caleb will probably have more who will be on the ship, and then like a smaller group that will actually be with him during the ball, while the others will be on the ship if they're needed.
Okay.
So, like, I guess how many should the small group be if he, say, brings, like, now maybe just have the gunners on the ship, but bring, like, a small group of them with him whenever he's, like, actually at the ball, while the rest hold the ship, basically.
The advisors, actually fairly unanimously, most of your advisors are merchants, so they at least have some basic experience with the heirs of nobility. They inform you that basically with that approach, it wouldn't really matter who you brought with you. Having them on the ship outside would already be sending its own message.
I see. I mean, ships do need a sizable crew, so, they
Well,
could
yeah,
just
there's a difference
double...
between like some sailors to pull rope and some guys armed with rifles.
But you see, we're Tabadron. So we could
like I
just
said.
make our riflemen look like guys pulling ropes.
True, but at that point you're rolling the dice, possibly literally.
Guess what do they think of the idea of bringing the gunners under the guise of being like crew members of the ship, and if they're needed, they'll get their weapons and come to the aid. Basically, in case we have another, what was it, Mercurial?
Yeah.
I want to try to give us the best chance of avoiding another Mercurial.
One of your advisors kind of scratches at his facial hair in thought. Well, this is something of a bind, but if we are to bring an entourage, then yes, doing it under guise would be our best chance. But we'll need to be careful. If word of it gets out, or gods forbid we're discovered, it will do unthinkable damage to our reputation. Any diplomacy in the future will be distrusted, and we've only just begun to build any sort of speaking terms relations with the rest of the continent.
Obviously. Yes. I wonder if we could have a few of the gunners be open. Draw attention to them. There'll just be a small number, just enough to be basically a bodyguard. Will be openly riflemen, and hopefully they will draw attention away from the ones who remain on the ship, who are in disguise. They'll see the ones who are openly armed, and they may just assume they are who we brought.
They all look to each other and kind of slowly nod. If those are your orders, then that is the best way to go about them.
I wish for you to speak honestly on this matter. I've never had to consider how many guards to bring to a ball.
They look to each other and, after a moment, well, while I can understand you having hesitations after the situation in Mercurial, and honestly, I have every reason to suspect you will not be the only one. making these kind of considerations, you must also consider that we have been all but officially banned from any sort of political discussion up to this point, because the rest of Yav considers us to be a kingdom of raiding savages. And we are a kingdom of raiding savages, but we don't wish to project that image. If you hope to make the reforms you seek to make, there will unfortunately be times where you're required to abandon the element of strategy in favor of kissing ass.
So I should leave myself and all of us minimally protected. I do happen to remember that the last time I was at a ball, I wound up being locked in a metal box.
Yes. As we said, that's simply the decision you'll have to make for yourself. You can be protected, but it will hinder attempts at further diplomacy, especially if you are discovered in your deception. Or you can emphasize your willingness to negotiate and put your faith in the rest of Yav's nobility, including our enemies. And while that will be admirable and potentially secure us a place at the table going forward, yes, there is obviously an element of safety you're abandoning in favor of that. I'm afraid there's simply no way to achieve both, Your Highness. If you're protected, the other kings and queens will see that and know that you don't feel safe alone. That makes you look weak, or worse, makes you look aggressive.
Maybe it's just a Tabajan in me, but a part of me feels like there has to be some way to stack the deck in our favor.
I assure you, Your Highness, speaking as a former Baron, if there was a way to achieve safety and strategic alliances, everyone would be doing it.
We shall bring only a small guard. Just a few. And Volpine. Of our generals, he's the one I would trust best if things got unfortunate.
Stood. That may be for the best, then. And do remember, while you're in attendance at the festivities, you're representing all of us. Watch your words and be careful what you say and who you say it to. He gives you a gentle, almost like bordering on fatherly smile. You're one of the best of us. We can only hope that that's the image we project.
Very well. Out of curiosity, what would, by Yavik standard, what constitutes a small guard?
It usually depends on things like species and individual kingdom, but by Tabadran standards, here, let me actually pull this up.
What, like 10?
I'm a checking. While I'm pulling it up, just so you can, so we can multitask. Is there anything else you intend to do, either while you're here or anything like that?
I guess, I think there is a tailor in Rosewick, right?
Yes.
Caleb's gonna make sure that his new kingly outfit is, back up to its best. I'm sure it got a little scuffed up in the...
Yeah. Yeah, luckily, maintenance of that matter, or manner is easily done, especially with your status.
And he'll ask him, like, how long it would take him to make another outfit, out of curiosity.
The tailor informs you that, assuming it's, like, completely from scratch, that it would probably take them about a week, maybe 2, depending on how elaborate you
Yeah.
wanted to be with it.
Fair enough. He doesn't have time for it.
And your advisors say that since most military groupings in Tebedra are usually about a dozen, not counting the person they're actually escorting, then the ideal, basically, bodyguard while still being peaceful would probably be 2 to accompany you. So Volpine and someone else of actual combat use.
I see. Okay. Well, I guess I didn't get to spend much time with him. He'll bring the other general candidate, the one that's competing with Goody.
All right.
And he'll leave Goody in charge of making sure things are, stay peachy in Tebedra.
All right. You swap out General Proctor for General Finn, and he will join your retinue. As we discussed off camera, but again, just stated for camera's sake, you commission Jerry to customize both a flag and the paint job of your galleon. So
He'll
you are-
say for painting the ship itself, he says, if I know you may not like it, but keep the paint job for the ship itself relatively simple. You can you can do the artistic stuff on the flag,
okay.
if that's okay. And I'll give people to help you with it. Obviously. Is the
He's
meat
like already on his back, like painting it.
just wanted to make you have to we don't want the ship to, be a million different colors.
I don't know if we could paint it a million colors. That's a lot.
It's figurative, but yes, it is a lot. So just keep it to maybe one. Keep the ship itself to like a main color and an accent, and then the
What
flag,
accent?
an accenting color.
Yeah. Which color? Talking to Jerry's a fucking nightmare.
It's like I'll just what. Look, I'm leaving the exact colors up to you. That is your decision.
Okay.
Just yeah, just that's and however much you feel like you need to get it done, just let me know.
They just give you a small nod and start sizing up the ship for what they have planned.
Basically, Caleb was just saying, whatever you need, just let me know and I'll get it to you. However many people he needs or anything like that.
Yeah, especially with a small crew of people, easily done. By the time you gather your retinue and set out for the ship itself, the job itself is pretty much
Oh
done.
yeah, Caleb was also going to, just so you know, Caleb will be very fussy about how Dimitri is presenting himself for this trip.
I assumed.
And he'll also ask his father to come with him because he wants him to advise as well.
Noted.
You see, officially as documented, Caleb has 2 generals and a bunch of advisors.
Noted. All right, so yeah, your father, Dimitri, 2 generals as your bodyguards. Obviously, just the sailors necessary to crew the ship, but no combatants. Anything else?
And the advisors and all that. He wants.
Oh, okay, noted.
He wants
All
them
right,
to be involved because it's a diplomatic meeting.
all right, yep, that is doable. Okay.
That's why he was telling the other 2 advisors to meet him either in Tebedra Farms or at the ball itself if they can't make it to Tebedra Farms on time.
Okay, got it.
He wants his advisors present so that way if comes to any terms, he can run it by them before officially agreeing to them.
Noted. Okay. As you finalize your preparations, the ship itself has been spruced up. You can see that it's been painted to have a more almost like acacia wood look to it, like that kind of like reddish orange color to match the Tebadran colors. And of course, the Tebadran flag now waves proudly from its mast, with the Tebadran oath in Thieves' Cant written below.
A very good work, Jerry, as usual.
Thank you.
How much did you want for this work?
He kind of mulls in his head, but eventually gives a slight shrug. Maybe 4 golds.
Caleb will give him the gold. And one more.
You can see Dimitri kind of quirk a brow, but doesn't say anything more. But he does just give Jerry a small hug and just... We'll be back soon. Stay out of trouble, all right?
Caleb will do the same, by the way. He just wanted to make sure he was compensated and all that.
All right.
You ready to see somewhere other than Tebadra? Looking to Dimitri.
Well as I can.
You know what I meant.
He will board the ship with you and your advisors as you get ready to cross the Blackened Sea. Now, final thing before we cut away, what is your actual destination going to be? Are you just going to head to where the ball's being hosted right away, or head to just the nearest city? Where are you dropping off? Where are we dropping, boys?
He's going to the ball.
All right, just making sure.
I didn't know there was other stops to go to.
All right, I was just checking. All right. And in that case, back at the siege camp. After your mission, now you said you wanted to pick up a wedding gift for the couple as well. Do you have any idea of what you want to get them?
Yes, I want to get a decorative sword for the groom and a decorative dagger for the bride.
Okay.
You know they're both girls, right?
I did not know that. I'll get them both decorative dagger.
Noted. How elaborate? Because especially in Yob, because this is actually a fairly common tradition, like what you're getting is a pretty common gift. These can run pretty expensive if you get the fancy ones. So, like, how fancy are you willing to go?
How pricey are we talking?
The basically nicer ones, again, these are like pretty nice, can run you up to 500, but you can see some of them are on sale for like bullshit like $500,000. But you can see some just, again, still obviously ceremonial and fancy, are being sold for 100. So basically, like, basic would be like 100, something like respectably fancy, just not like insanely elaborate, would be 500, and anything between that and 500,000 for like, like my queen, marry me.
What else are good wedding gifts for the nobility?
The traditions vary by the kingdom, but by your knowledge, yes, getting them weapons is a very commonly accepted tradition. But other than that, things like food and drink for the ceremonies, especially with, alcohols, Even something just as simple as like giving money or just
Can I
something. Yeah.
I was gonna say like, oh, maybe Caleb should bring some cider or something, but then I'm like, well, actually, hold on. Would they consider some Adrian cider to actually be an insult rather than?
Welcome to politics. You have no fucking idea.
What kind of terrain are they in on that?
Like where they actually come from.
Yeah.
Let me pull up my terrain map to check.
Because I had a thought. I've just got to make sure it would, be functional.
Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. Their terrain is largely like essentially open plains and beaches.
I would like to get them each like a well manicured show horse.
Oh well, what? Sorry.
Like a manicured show horse.
Okay.
You're telling me that you're going to travel all the way there with horses.
Yes, it's practical.
If you say so.
All right.
Okay, it's a practical gift.
Oh yeah. For the era and the kind of people you're dealing with, that is actually fair. All right. 150 gold for 2.
Oh, and that's like equipment included.
If you want equipment for them as well, then that would make it. All right. Finalizing costs here. Sorry.
You're good.
Raises it to about 600.
Okay, sold.
All right.
If you can subtract that for me as well.
Yes. Okay. Anything else for you before you return?
No, I think that's all the politics he's going to be able to handle.
Yeah. Oh yeah, get ready. The next few sessions are gonna be a fucking nightmare.
Oh, I'm well aware.
Oh,
He's not doing
This
much.
is where I shine. I'm so excited.
In that case, what's his with 2 very well-bred and expensive. Because bear in mind, it wasn't even just like saddles and bit and brittle. It was also like like getting them all like gussied up and lavish, like really going the whole 9 yards for this. With your horses and enough
First
feed.
impressions are important.
Oh yeah. With your steeds and the tools and food to sustain them in tow, you finish your journey back to the camp. Lucian and Zephyr. At this point, it's been about 6 or 7 days. The time is nearly upon you. You see What's-His has finally returned. You can see that he's got a couple very well-decorated and insanely well-bred horses in tow. And What's-His, as you enter, you can see most of the camp is just idly tending to their business. But Lucian and Zephyr, you may of course describe what you're doing, but just for NPC reference, you can see that Autumnfall is currently basically in a small, whispered but heated argument with Autumnfall, who is seemingly trying to force her to, actually wear a dress.
Good luck on that one.
I don't think that she needs to wear a dress though. Like, I really like the leather jacket and I like it. I think it's good.
Of course you like it, but our goal is not to get every man in the building drooling over her. Our goal is to look classy.
Well, I mean, if the men are drooling over her, technically they have, she's got the attention. So I mean, I don't exactly see how that's a bad thing.
We're going
Besides,
for
people have no interest in
impressions.
dresses.
I tell you what. You don't have to wear a dress. How would you like to wear a suit?
You can see she actually does pause and consider that.
You know what? Let's go to the town. Okay, I want to buy something anyway, and we will look for a suit for you, and we'll see. Just a look. We don't have to buy it. I think that would be, if you want to look classy, I think a suit would look really nice on you.
She looks to Autumnfall and what says kind of uncertainly, but Autumnfall for her part just gives a shrug. Frankly, as long as you're dressed, I could care less.
Perfect. I'm gonna take her hand and I guess we'll run into town real quick.
Alright, easily done. Autumnfall kind of sighs as they run off and looks to you, What's-his.
While we're in town, I also would like to buy a gift.
Noted. Welcome back. I assume your errand went well? Gods, I've been dealing with Agnes for far too long.
It did. They were very appreciative to receive their dead.
She gives a small smile at that and looks over your shoulder at the horses. Wedding gifts, I assume?
That is correct. I figured this would be very practical for the area.
She gives a smile and a nod at that. I like the way you think.
I was gonna get us some daggers, but that's a little too cliche.
Oh, please, you're going to embarrass me. Although your heart was in the right place, your mind was just a few steps behind.
His mind is already confused. Like, I don't know what she means by that, but got the gifts.
She gives you a nod. I suppose we'll have to wait until those two return, assuming they make it back before nightfall, to see about how exactly we're going to go about getting there. His Majesty has yet to return, but I assume he's likely already on his way there.
More than likely, he's very impatient like his brother.
Speaking of which, Zephyr, what are you currently doing right now?
Yeah, Zephyr's got that giant ass bird. He could give us all a ride there.
He sounds that giant ass bird.
Oh.
Yeah, Zephyr, what are you up to right now? Last couple days before the event begins.
Nothing much, just kind of doing normal stuff. He's not planning to get all dressy up for this.
Zephyr is unbothered.
All right. Worried. I'm like, it's just people.
Yeah, just going to a party. What's the big deal? Honestly, respect. Zephyr knows how to stay in his lane. All right. In that case, Lucian. Agnes will obviously buy her own suit, but what wedding gift?
No. I insist. I will buy. I insist.
She kind of gives like a good-natured smile and roll the eyes. Half or nothing. I'll reverse mug you for it if you try to go any less.
She gives like that fake, purses the lips like Ray does. I don't know. And just kind of like side eyes
7 gold and 5 silver in that case for the dress.
Alright.
And what wedding gift do you wish to procure for the lovely couple?
Is there like a jeweler around here?
And I thought I was cliche.
There are people who specialize in the refinement of things like that. There's not necessarily like a devoted jeweler per se, but there are people who have the skill sets necessary to potentially act as one. Essentially, they can get you gems, but not active jewelry. At least not like from an expert. What exactly are you hoping to look for?
I was gonna look for like, you know, like maybe like matching necklace or like you know, like something like beautiful that I could give to them. That they could like wear you know, like on occasions or whatever.
Well, it won't be anything like elaborately fancy, but if you're willing to essentially go for something like, you know, nice but kind of basic, since again there's not really like an expert at the sort of thing here, then you can buy a pair
I
of.
want something like really beautiful, maybe something like unique or, you know, like nothing that like nobody else would maybe have.
In that case, you're gonna have to just buy a gem and figure something out.
Because I was like thinking like he already got the horses, so I was like, okay, that doesn't really give me too much of an option of what I can do.
I mean, to be fair, if everyone in Yav is doing the same thing you guys are doing, it's pretty fucking likely that she... Even Autumnfall seems to already have figured out a gift that she knows she'll like. Like, presumably a lot of people are going to get her the same thing.
Yeah, but I don't want to give her like something shitty. Could I find like... Oh, could I find... It doesn't have to be in the jewelry shop, but like, could I find like matching, like goblets or cups?
Yeah, that is doable.
Okay. Like really pretty, like either made out of like pure silver or pure gold.
Okay.
Like they can be gem encrusted, they can, you know, I want them to be fancy, I want them to be pretty.
Okie dokie. Here we are. Boy. Alright. So a pair of silver or gold goblets, preferably all shiny and fancy with gems. Anything else?
I'm gonna ask Aggie. Hey Aggie, do you have a gift for them, or do you like wanna, you know?
Oh no, don't worry. Ray and I already know what she likes.
Oh, do you think that she's going to like these?
Oh yeah, she loves fancy shit like this.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay. Then,
And about 30 gold for both, by the way.
For both? Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. That is fine with me. So total, I'm looking at my gold right now. So for everything, that's 38 gold.
Yeah, assuming you want to round up and avoid change, yeah.
Okay. All right. And that is removed.
Okay. Are you good in Toradana and ready to return to camp?
Yep, as long as she's got her suit and she's happy. And
Well, happy's a strong word. She's tugging at the collar the whole fucking way, but
you know,
she's dressed.
You know what? You don't have to button it all the way. Like, you know, if you want to show a little bit, I think that would be absolutely fine. But
Oh, I agree with you, but Ray's gonna get all up in my ass about it.
well, you know what? Who cares?
Yeah, maybe once we get there, I'll let the girls breathe.
Yeah, for now, for now we look fancy dancy. Later you could just like unbutton it. It's fine.
She gives you a smarmy ass fucking grin and just like, what is it with you and trying to get me naked?
Well, I mean, not naked, but like, you know. So, that's not, off the table.
That's super not couth of you.
I know, it's weird.
As you return to camp, you can see What's-His has his fineries and gift. Zephyr could give a crystal fuck. And you all see Sundragon return, donned in a form-fitting but passably elegant suit. Autumnfall, for her part, has exchanged her usual battle garments for a flowing, long-sleeved, kind of icy blue and white dress, long, like, flowing, like, sorcery sleeves, frilled, skirt at the bottom, with a red scarf around her neck and a red trim around the base of the dress itself.
Ooh, very pretty. Now, if you give me like an hour, I will go get dressed, and then I will be ready to go.
Before you go, what exactly is our plan for transportation?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me consult my map here. I was pretty sure I was gonna like get us halfway there.
And then take a boat the rest of the way, I think it was.
Yeah, I think the plan, because we're going to Wyborn, right?
Yes. The current location of the ball is, I'm assuming you're looking at like the full Yav map?
Yeah, I'm looking at the full map.
That little island to the southwest of Tangelo.
Tangelo.
Bottom of Wyborn's territory.
Okay, I see it. Okay.
So
Right
you're
next-
going there.
That little dot that's like between Wyborn, Giant Country, and
Yes.
Okay, that little. Okay.
Yeah, exactly that one.
Okay. So what I can do is I could teleport us magically through the city of Mercurial, or I could teleport us to your country, to Sundragon, and we could take a port there and take a boat. Either way, I can just and she kind of like waves her hands.
I much prefer the latter. I'd rather not have to fight an army of ichor beasts in my fineries.
Yeah, that makes me too, but I'm learning to ask for opinions.
Amos gives you a thumbs up. All right.
Well,
Then-
it's a plan at least.
All right, so I will I will go to my favorite tree right next to where Sundragon and Autumnfall had been, camping, and the tree that I've been, sleeping in. I'm very familiar with it. So I will put my hands on the tree and I will say the incantation, and I will think about Aggie's castle and, the trees that are nearby.
Okay. Then with that, you are just about ready to make your way. Obviously, with the downtime, it goes without saying, but just in case anybody hadn't done it already, everyone please knock off a long rest.
Oh, good. Okay.
And knock off 2 days of rations, just basically for the time where you weren't in a city, like with food you could get your hands on.
Okay.
Other than that, I believe that's everything that immediately needed tending to. The three of you along with Autumnfall and Sundragon. You can see in terms of entourage, essentially, you can see that Autumnfall does not appear to be bringing anyone with her. Sundragon, for her part, though, doesn't bring anyone with the teleportation, but she does mention just offhandedly that she is expecting to meet up with some friends of hers there. If Autumnfall has anyone she's expecting to meet, she's being tight-lipped about it.
All right. As far as Lucian goes, you know, she's in her fine dress. Not the one specifically for the ball, but like it's still like good for like traveling and stuff. She is saving that one for.
Yeah. There's like casual travel clothes, nice clothes when you want to be fancy, and then like really fancy when you want to show off.
Yeah, exactly. It's,
Noted.
You know, it's her little black dress that she wore for her birthday. It's a very cute dress and very beautiful. But she is saving the ball dress for the day that they enter the, you know, the ball.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out the word, but my brain decided to quit on me.
I get you, no worries. All right. Then, without further ado, Caleb, happy birthday.
Yay! Yeah, do we have that as a thing?
In word only.
Oh, we don't have the yay sound effect.
No, not on hand, unfortunately. But yeah.
Oh yeah, we don't have it on our on the soundboard.
Yeah, I have it in my other server, but I don't have Nitro, unfortunately. But anyway. You all set out from your individual ports. Caleb with your entourage from Tebadra Farms, the rest of you from Sundragon's capital from the north. You all, unintentionally, but nonetheless, begin to converge as you cross into the territory of the Kingdom of Wyborn. Zephyr, you are instantly unhappy.
I would think
Yes.
I tried to buy like warm clothes.
But yeah, but that doesn't mean he's going to be happy about being cold. It just means that he's not going to die. I did send a map, Austin. If you can put it on the stream, I know sometimes the software kind of futz with the map, so it's okay if not. But you guys have seen the map I sent, so you know what you're dealing with. Caleb, your journey takes you through the northern bulk of the Blackened Sea. You pass by the Summersea Forest, and you can see the ruins of Mercurial, empty. The once bustling city, now completely lifeless. You can see the islands that make up the Kingdom of Basilius to your east. You can see the Krakonos Mountains, where the giants live, surrounding the central mountain of Mount Kotal. Mount Kotal is also known in local folklore as the Cauldron. As it said, the king of the giants is so big that he uses that central mountain as a cauldron. The rest of you, traveling in from the west, get a view of, you can see the northern islands of the Kingdom of Blackthorn, where you can see the city of Sanguima at the eastern tip. Zephyr, you can see ahead of you freezing tundra, icy biting mountains, rivers of flowing ice, and thick forests of white pine trees. Hell. This is hell.
Makes sense.
It's almost as cold as home.
Actually, yeah, like this is I mentioned this in private chat, but I will iterate this for viewing reference. The place you guys are going is the second coldest place in the world that is, livable. Like, you are literally 2 steps removed from you physically cannot live here cold. Lucian, you can see across a flurry of icy lakes and rivers is the distant city of Tangelo. You can see it's a relatively dark, but you can see like dangling lanterns and flashing lights. Presumably, the people in the city are celebrating in their own way. It is a special occasion, after all. And you can see your destination ahead of you. Caleb, you obviously see this as well. You all see that the directions you were given to get to the ball lead the 2 of you, or the 2 groups of you, I should say, to an island a little bit removed from Tangelo, but still within a more than reasonable difference to get to it. You see a large, almost dome-shaped island covered in grass and flora. You can even see a couple trees growing on it here and there. It's an island, but fairly sizable and big. And you can see built on that island is a massive tower. It almost looks like a lighthouse, but you don't see like you do see light coming from it, but it's not moving in like a pattern like a lighthouse does. It's moving in this like sporadic motion. You can see the light flicks over your ship, Caleb, before moving on. It flicks over the ship the rest of you are on before once again moving away. But it's fast, quick. But you notice it almost seems like it follows movement. It fixates on your ships. As you grow closer, you can see that several ships are already present. However, the bulk of those attending have not arrived yet. But you can see a few ships already in dock with flags waving proudly. As you make your way to the dock, the rest of you can see a ship painted in the Tebadra colors and waving the Tebadran flag is pulling to dock at the island alongside you. You can see that because of the shape of this island, there's not really like a designated pier or dock to keep your ship at, so everyone is just anchoring their ship off the coast and basically mooring their ship to the island itself.
I'm sure there's a way to get the horses to land.
Oh yeah, like you could just like, put them in a boat Washington style, easily done.
I'm staying away from those horses.
Noted.
What? We're well trained.
I'm on the other side of the boat, like picking my nose.
As you all disembark, Caleb, you see that your party has arrived as well. You can see that What's-His has brought horses as a gift. You can see that Lucian is well dressed, but has yet to reveal her actual party garb. You can see Queen Sundragon is donned in a simple but flattering suit, and Autumnfall is in her wintry dress. And you all regroup. You can see Caleb has brought with him General Volpine, General Finn, who the bulk of you have not really, you haven't interacted with too much compared to Goody, so he's a bit of a wild card, a bit of a newcomer, as well as his father, and of course, young Dimitri, who kind of tilting his head a bit as you all regroup, kind of sniff slightly. Before kind of whispering to you, Caleb, but loud enough for all of you to hear. Is that big elf guy here?
I think so. I think he might be.
I know I smelled him.
Oh, good, Caleb. before we head to the party, I would like to speak to you about some things.
Well, very well. What does he like to speak about?
I kind of like look around. I don't really think a dock is the best place for this conversation. Do we have accommodations, Matt?
You did at the last ball. You have yet to actually go inside and greet your host, so you don't know yet.
Okay. Well, before, I guess on the boat, is there anywhere like for me to change?
Yeah, there's there's the crew's quarters, and of course you could just enter the captain's quarters if you really wanted to.
Okay, cool. I guess I'll just be like, well, I'm going to change into my party dress. It won't take me very long. But I guess we can talk on our way up there.
All right. Also, what's his little bit of background noise?
Yeah, you got. It sounds like a fucking. I don't know what.
Also, so like Caleb has all the advisors there. Did the one from Bullhammer show up?
Yeah, I was gonna wait until the party regrouped to go over everything. Your advisors are present. However, let me double check here. They were able to get, coming back to Rosewick was genuinely just Rosewick. Tabaja Farms was the most efficient for them, so you didn't have to worry about them being left behind. But
so, like the new ones are here too.
Yes, Bullhammer has sent an advisor. However, the messenger you sent to Darkrise, when they reported back, told you that they were just not allowed to enter the city.
Well, that's a problem for a later date.
But yes, for now. So yeah, you also have your 3 Rosewick advisors and your Bullhammer advisor.
Well, isn't like some of isn't there some from Rosewick and some from Fuse? Wasn't that how Caleb set it up?
Well, technically, the advisors aren't from either of those cities. They're just the old nobility from Tebadra that basically just had their power divvied up a bit more. But effectively, yes.
Because that was the idea. Is there's supposed to be like important person from Fuse, important person from Rosewick.
Mm-hmm.
So that way he's trying to have an advisor from each city so they can each tell him their situation.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
But
I guess Caleb will, since I'm gonna take a wild guess and assume Caleb has probably never met the person that is going to be the advisor from Bullhammer.
Yeah, no, you are not familiar with them in the slightest. You can
Caleb
see.
will. I will say that whenever I thought it would take him too long to get to Tebadra Farms, so I thought we would meet him here. So
yeah,
we'll just say
it's
that
only
like
a
Caleb
couple days trip, so.
had gotten their introduction at Tebadra Farms. I thought it took like 6 days to get from Bullhammer to Tebadra or some shit.
No, a lot of the time is it's basically more crossing the Scorpius Desert that eats up a lot of the travel time between Rosewick and Toradana.
Okay. But so yeah, Caleb would have greeted them whenever they met the group, basically, and would have tried to get their name and all that.
Noted.
So what is it?
You can see the advisor is what appears to be a wolf mongrel, ears and tail and visible teeth, but kind of darker skin, but otherwise fairly human-looking, dark hair. He's still dressed in barbarous colors, wearing a kind of hooded robe, but he introduces himself to you as White Fang.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I guess just giving you a rundown. Your job is basically going to be ensuring that I know what is going on in Bullhammer, and if you need anything or if there's any concerns you think would affect where you're from. That way I don't make any decisions that would misaffect anybody.
Gives you a hard-to-read smile and bow. You need not worry, Your Majesty. The General has already been kind enough to inform me of what I must be aware of.
Very well. I guess we shall proceed with this ball soon. See what may be done. It is a pleasure to meet you again.
I hope to serve you well, Master.
Ugh.
Lucian, I'm assuming you're changing into your party garb?
Yes, party dress time.
All right, noted.
Got it.
For now, are the rest of you good to head up towards the building and see what's what?
Well, I asked Caleb to stay back because I wanted to speak with him.
All right, Caleb, you good to hang here for a minute?
Yeah, he already said he was gonna wait.
Just making sure. What's his Zephyr? You want to go on ahead or hang out until the rest of the party's good to move?
I'll go ahead and head that way. That way I can figure out where to leave the horses.
Okay.
Since they're a party game.
They sound really far away.
Yeah, I got the gist though. Don't worry.
Set dice on the speakerphone.
All right.
Forward.
What's his?
It's forward.
Got it. Onward and upward. Okay. Do-do-do-do. Okay. Zephyr, what's his? You go on ahead for now as Lucian gets changed and Caleb waits to see what Lucian intends to discuss. Queen, Sundragon, and Autumnfall accompany you. As you make your way up, you can see that, as mentioned, the environment of this island is pretty lush, all things considered. You can see the centerpiece of it all is a large kind of rocky outcropping, like this little bluff that juts off the side, which almost gives the impression of it being like a miniature mountain. But you can see from the large tree growing outside of the lighthouse that it's notable, but not exactly impressive. But overall, it's peaceful, and you can see this little garden of sorts around the bluff, making a good enough mingling spot. The lighthouse itself is, sizable. It's a lighthouse, but you are a bit surprised at the rather simple accommodations. You can see that the door is currently closed, but you can see you are not, of course, the first ones to get here, and you can see standing at the door with their arms crossed, kind of leaning casually, is a guest who appears to have arrived here before you. As he hears the, three of you and Zephyr, I should say. I'm assuming Zephyr's just silent as ever. But as he hears the three of you coming, he does perk his head up and look to the side curiously before giving a smile. You can see he's a rather handsome-looking man, blonde hair, kind of scruffy, very tanned skin, like surfer's tan. You can see he appears to have taken the Sundragon approach and is just wearing a leather vest and is otherwise completely shirtless.
Oh.
But you can see he's wearing a pair of leather gloves, very simple, like, breeches and boots, like, essentially dressed, like, casual to what is supposed to be a formal event. But if he himself sees anything off-putting about this, he does not seem to register it as he steps forward to the four of you and with a wide smile on his face holds out his gloved hand. Hey! Glad to see you guys could make it. Autumnfall gives a
Who is
smile
it again?
and... What's up?
Who is this?
What's his Zephyr and the Queens?
No. Who?
Oh.
Oh, okay. It's them. They're off on. That's right.
Yeah,
I-
and this
I
guy hasn't
forgot.
introduced himself yet. But as he gives a smile and holds his hand out to each of you, Autumnfall and Zephyr, you both can see, very slightly blushes as she extends her hand, and he, to his credit, seems to get the message, and instead of a more like equal handshake, just kisses her knuckle. King Song, always a pleasure.
Ah. Getting out my notes, baby.
Yeah, it's politics time.
Yeah, this is my area, babe. You know this. We know this. Okay. Okay, written that down.
Nice to see you, Jay. Always, Aggie. The two of them fist bump. Who are your friends? No, wait, don't tell me. He looks to you, and... Hold on, I got this. Hold up. Right on the tip of my tail. Who's it? Where's it? You're some military guy, right? I definitely recognize the tattoos.
Usually wear white uniforms to give you an idea.
One more time, what's this? Sorry, again, Mike's a little funky.
Usually wearing white uniforms to give you an idea.
Well, didn't expect to see you after that shit show last time, but hey, I'm down for second chances.
Yeah.
He holds out his hand to you with a friendly smile. James
I'll
Tong. Right.
What is my name? Sorry, almost.
That's right. Nothing personal. I just got a lot of names to keep track of. You can actually faintly see that he's literally written the names of some of the leaders on his arm to keep track of them.
Oh my god.
Well, that's actually a pretty good idea if my arms were, made out of, flesh.
Hey, just do it like a magnifying glass. Just burn them in. You can always buff it out later, right?
That's not a horrible idea. I might take you up on that idea.
You hear that, Ray Ray? I'm not only full of terrible ideas. We'll need a control group to test that, James. And who's this one? He puts his hands on his knees to look down at you, Zephyr, with a wide smile.
Oh my god. Oh no.
King of the Dwarves looks a little different than I last remember.
Oh god. You're gonna get stabbed, dude.
I mean, did him coming to a formal ball shirtless not give you the impression that he has no self-control?
Yeah.
I don't care, which, But, Zephyr's just gonna kind of look him up and down, just... starts walking away.
What's up? I said, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, come on, come back.
Let him sit on that as I don't know, see what this place has to offer.
Well, as I said, you can see the door is still currently closed. Do you want to try and get in, or are you just going to start exploring?
Yes, let's see if see if it's open.
All right. Zephyr giving a push on the door. You can see that, or feel rather, that it is currently barred. And Song kind of gives a small nod. Yeah, I tried that already. Didn't have much luck. I'm guessing they're waiting for... And he points up at the sky where you can see the sun is starting to reach its brightest point. Oh, King Song, this is, Zephyr Tebedra, heir apparent, brother to the king. Oh, Tebedran, huh?
You can just call me Zephyr.
You can just call me James, or J-Dog, or J, or I mean, really anything but Your Highness if you can avoid it. Nice to meet you, Zeph.
I have yet to determine if like what.
You're not the first to say that. You'll warm up to me. Everyone does eventually. You can see Autumnfall kind of roll her eyes. Meanwhile,
windows?
what's that? Oh, roll perception.
25.
Just a second. Ugh, no, I saved that here somewhere. Where are you? There you are. You do not see a obvious window. However, you do see that it is a lighthouse. The upper, like, essentially upper area does seem like it would be traversable, and obviously you're Zephyr, you can climb.
Yeah. Tempting.
Very good. Point of inspiration. Lucian, as you change into your party garments, you make your way back out onto the Domish Island, and Caleb, as Lucian approaches you, but since they had heard you guys request some form of privacy, they will back up a little bit. Only Dimitri will stay close to you. And Lucian, since I know you said you wanted to do this, Caleb will get first look. What is your wear for the ball?
Oh no, you know what? You can do it. It's fine.
Okay. In that case, let me get back up to it.
And Austin, if you can put it up on the stream, that would be great.
Caleb, as Lucian returns, you can see that she's gone for a very notable palette swap compared to her usual fare. You can see that she's donned in a very sleek and formal, almost like pinkish red, like.
Oh no,
almost...
it's definitely pink.
I'm working with what I got here.
It's definitely pink.
Pink then, dress, a blue amulet dangling from her neck and around the chest of the dress. Overall, it's form-fitting without being overly extravagant. It works well for their purposes.
So what is it you wanted to talk about?
Well, I recently spoke to Queen Autumnfall and Queen Sundragon about this, and I just kind of wanted to let you know, since you are a part of the Western Alliance, that during this engagement, I plan on making a few connections and hope to gain some more alliances for the Western Alliance and for the council that I told you about.
Okay, I mean, that is what the ball is for, so I expected as much, yes.
Right, so the thing that I wanted to talk to you about was, I know that you wanted to speak with the Tsar, correct?
Yes, I believe we kind of have an agreement to speak already.
Oh, that's most excellent, because I want to speak with is it Queen Whiteson, or is it
The Tsar.
Okay, yeah. I also would like to speak to the Tsar, especially Wyson.
Are you planning on trying to convince them to join the alliance?
Yes.
I was already planning on doing so. That is
Well,
part of why I was wanting to talk with them, is to try to deal with any disputes that may remain between Tebedra and them, and then convince them to join the alliance once that's smooth.
Well, if it is okay with you, perhaps we can speak with them together.
I believe that should be possible. I don't think they would see that as an offense if I brought someone else.
So, well, it wasn't. I mean, I guess I was kind of thinking about that, but I was like more thinking about like, you know, I didn't want it to like feel like, you know, we were like competing. You know, I just like didn't want there to be like any misunderstandings or like, I just didn't want you to feel like I was trying to like keep a secret from you, I guess.
Very well. I mean, even if
also-
you did, I would understand your reasons. Everyone has their reasons for things they do. But I am glad
I
you
am not.
chose
I
not.
am not the secretive type, really.
Oh, we could tell.
I also plan on speaking with Spear Maiden. Hopefully, they're here.
Are those
And
the people that basically told Caleb, fight me?
Yeah.
Ah, yes, the ones who their message to me on my coronation was, fight me.
yeah, that kind of tracks because I don't know if you knew this. They're like a whole country of like women, strong women. So I kind of am not surprised, really.
Are you sure you are capable of actually engaging with such people?
Dimitri giggles.
You see like a violent blush on her face. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying. If you need, I could do that discussion because it would affect me not at all.
I already. It's fine. I'll be fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll be fine. I've got Aki. You know. I'm fine.
Insight.
Not one deception. She's absolutely fucking lying to you.
Let's see. I got 18 plus 6, which is 24.
She believes she's telling the truth.
Yeah,
She believes she's telling the truth.
she believes she's telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person who there's two other people I'm going to speak to, which is it pronounced
Basilius.
Basilius. I'm going to
Does
speak with
Caleb know that one?
Roll history.
Boop.
and then while you do that, I also
18. No, wait.
I'll also add
I was looking at the wrong stat.
and I'm going to talk to Dimebog as well. Just to kind of
Can
see
we include that one, Matthew?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it is actually a dirty 20. I thought I saw +5, but it was +7.
No worries. All right, and Lucian, were you rolling as well, or just covering dialogue? I couldn't remember, so I wanted to make sure.
What would they be rolling?
History to see if they what they know about Basilius.
They're the one mentioning it.
Yeah. That's purely on the recommendation of Autumnfall, who just said he's cool.
yeah. Which I trust her judgment. And then of course I do think that it would be within our best interest to be as courteous as possible to our enemies. At least go say hi and how are you? Small talk. Kiss a little ass.
I thought you said you're bad at that.
Me?
Yeah, I thought you always said you're not good at small talk.
Not really. But this is a good exercise, I think.
Keep in mind that these events, anything you say, can be taken in ways.
I I was trained very well. I understand that. But like I said, I do think a little ass kissing will do us, some good. But you were probably already told that.
More or less.
I also am hoping to see Shadow Lily and Blackthorn, and I'm thinking if Blackthorn is there, we can make the connections with Dimebog.
Also, what did Caleb's history roll yield?
Yeah, I was just gonna wait until there was a good point. Basilius, you actually are semi-familiar with them. While you haven't interacted with them extensively, Tebedra as a whole somewhat has. They are a mostly coastal kingdom, but while their cities are very hard to hit, in the times where Tebedran raids have the resources and time to pick up a ship to attempt any kind of coastal raid. What few times they have breached Basilius defenses has almost always yielded good results and turnover. While it's basically a ambitious hit for a bandit, it's not like Blackthorn where you take like a shit ton of casualties, especially if they're expecting you. It's more just a pain in the ass. But that being said, on the political spectrum, Caleb, you would know that the Kingdom of Basilius is considered a very formidable political power. Despite being fairly under the radar, perhaps that in and of itself is their advantage. They are considered strong in the military sense, so people can't push them around. But they're also smart and don't have a reputation for being aggressive. So they kind of strike that balance of like strong without being intimidating and friendly without being a pushover. They've been pretty quiet since the whole Scar Concord dilemma broke out. Nobody's really sure exactly where they stand, although you have heard whispers that whoever they do side with, it could end up turning the tide. You know that next to Wyson, they are the biggest coastal power in Yav. Wyson controls the southern seas, and Basilius controls the north.
Just like how Tebedra controls southern bandits and the other one controls northern bandits. Wyson controls southern seas. Basilisk controls northern seas.
Basilisk. I'm calling it now. We are going to get to the end of this fucking arc, and nobody's still going to know how to pronounce it.
Basilica.
You would also know, as a final detail, that the motto of House Basili is equal parts strength and wisdom.
Well, at least it's not Basili. And who was the other one?
Dimebog. You're kind of familiar with them already, but I'll go over it again. What's that?
Is their kingdom in a bog?
Pretty much, yeah. Dimebog is ruled by his sister. It is effectively a Geogran fief, although most aren't actually aware of its status as such. Kind of one of those political secrets. You've of course have had at least brief encounters.
Daughter of the general of Geogr is its king. What else is its leader? What else would they fucking be?
Well, remember, in times and lands like these, birthright is super important, but there's not exactly paternity tests. Remember, as far as the world knows, she's dead.
Fair enough.
Since then, she has taken up leadership of the Dimebog Hetmanat, which is unfortunately seen as something of a very frail house. A lot of people don't really trust her leadership, but she is doing her level fucking best, and that is all we can ask of her. You would know that their motto is always ready for combat.
Ah, I see. I'm surprised Spear Maiden hasn't them yet. Sounds like they were an
It wouldn't really. Does he say that out loud?
No, I'm just joking.
Okay. Because like she was about to like fucking info dump on you, so.
What was the other two she said?
So she said that she is going to not only speak to our enemies, she's going to talk to Wyson, Spear Maiden, and basilisk.
Yeah, so the only one that wasn't covered already was Spear Maiden.
Yeah, and I think Caleb already did a history check for Spear Maiden.
Yeah, you're familiar with
Y'all
them.
get-
They're raiders from the center of Yav, a kingdom of entirely women who raid the surrounding nations, especially the Struth Sultanate, to get men that they can, keep the kingdom moving with, and then, once they're done, all right, off with you, slap on the ass.
Yeah.
So they're like the Amazons.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it's a pretty good analogy. They're the Yavic Amazons.
Fucking.
Yeah, they're Amazons, but they're on Yav instead of. I think they're on the moon in our setting, right?
No, there are some, but that's a whole can of worms and a half.
Yeah. And then she also mentioned Shadow Lily and Blackthorn.
Yeah, you're already pretty familiar with them.
Yeah. Blackthorn is the people that the king lied and said killed his parents, when in fact it was actually fucking Aegis. That's
Well, I guess to be fair, Blackthorn did kill them. It's just that Aegis, futzed with what was left.
I thought it was like the dwarves ambushed them.
No, it was they basically got fucked during the raid, and then the dwarves picked over the wounded and anyone who was still clinging to life. They dragged off.
I was under the impression it was like they told the dwarves where they were going to be and they ambushed them.
Yeah, that's why it was clarified during the Honor Among Thieves and Jailbreak arc that your king didn't basically sent them on a raid that was dangerous because the only deal he made was just anyone who dies, anyone who dies or is wounded, you can take.
Yeah, I was under the impression he had told them, "Hey, this is where they're going to be. If you hit them here, you'll get your subjects."
No. But that said, anything else you wanted to go over in private, Lucian, before you rejoin the others?
Nope, it is all.
All right. As you guys make your way up the hill to head to the lighthouse, Dimitri holds your arm, Caleb, as he kind of listens to the surroundings curiously. He kind of furrows his brow, kind of humming to himself in thought.
Do you hear something?
No, it's just... I've never been on an island like this before. It just sounds weird.
I'm curious, what does it sound like?
I think it's just being out here. It's so windy. I'm so used to the forest. It sounds all like...
It sounds like it's breathing?
Yeah, I guess.
That is quite interesting.
I probably just haven't gotten my sea ears yet.
Lucian will give a giggle.
Zephyr, you can see Caleb and his entourage as well as Lucian rejoin you. Sundragon gives you a wave, Lucian, and King Song quirks a brow. Immediately on seeing Lucian, licks palm, slicks back hair, displays pecs, and strides forward.
You are barking up the wrong tree, my friend.
Now, what brings a lady like you to a place like this?
Oh, aren't you the charmer? Kind of give my dainty little hand to him. Lucian Elifikir.
Really? Because I was so sure you were charmed. And he kisses your knuckle with a wink.
Do I recognize him?
Roll history.
All right. This is
Caleb
where Lucian's strength. So.
Did Caleb and Dimitri see this display?
Yeah, you're all together now.
How would they rate this attempt?
Dimitri kind of looks to you and gives a bit of a shrug. Honestly, if I wasn't taken.
28.
Oh God. To me, you see, you're You see, the problem is you're missing the visual element. The visual element is what ruins it.
28 for me.
Dimitri clearly wants to make a smart-ass remark, but keeps his mouth shut for now, as Lucian, you are actually pretty familiar with him. You know him
Yeah.
because your father fucking hated this guy.
Yeah. that tracks. Tell us why my father hated him, please.
Oh, I'd be more than happy to. The Kingdom of Song is known above all else for their loyalty. Once they make an ally, they are your allies for life.
Bingo. Love
They are
that.
loyal. The king is said to be a very humble and gracious man who keeps expert track of his oaths and promises and works hard to keep them. He considers the people of neighboring kingdoms and really all of Yav to be his people just as much as those in his territory, and works hard to basically just make life better for essentially everyone wherever he can. Their reputation is basically spotless, with the exception of, courtesy of your father, not like that he caused it, but just you heard this from him, rumors that he is one of Barbarus's illegitimate bastard children, and he is not a native-born son of Yav. There are rumors that he's a mongrel and has been hiding it all this time.
Do I can I, like, while he's like, displaying himself, do I see any hints of mongrel on him?
Roll perception.
God
Can I
damn,
roll
how many
medicine
bast-
instead? Like, as a doctor knowing anatomy, can I roll medicine instead?
No, medicine would be like checking if he was sick. You're trying to just see if you can see any animal parts.
Contrary to what Lucian might think, being a mongrel is not a sickness.
Yeah. So much kissing ass too, huh? First thing you figure is going to do.
Okay, 18 plus 9.
You do
Nice.
notice what you would assume to be his belt is the same color as his hair and very furry.
I won't say anything, but I'll just kind of give him a very, very pretty, charming smile. Well, isn't it fine? It's finally great to meet the great King Song.
Oh yeah, always wanted to meet Lucian Alepakir.
Well, I'm not my father.
I should hope not. Bet he didn't look half as good.
Oh, you flatter me, sir.
At this point, Caleb Dimitri does look to the other corner of his eye, does the pointing his finger into his throat and like, ah.
He's trying too hard.
If it is agreeable, perhaps later we can have tea and have some discussions.
Ah, tea. Sounds nice and fancy. I'm down.
Fancy dancy,
As long as you don't want me to wear a suit.
Who said that, Aggie?
No, that was him.
Oh, yeah. I noticed your very brave look. I had to talk Aggie out of it too.
Yeah, you can see Agnes is actively looking at him resentfully. He just smiles and shoots her finger guns.
I imagine.
I feel like in the back of her mind is like, man, I am way too dressed up.
Yeah, now I feel overdressed.
God damn it, I'm overdressed. Just kind of give her a kind of like a smirk, and I'll take my hand back from the king and just, well, have they opened the doors yet?
They're probably going to once the sun's gotten a little bit higher. Everyone else is probably waiting until the solstice actually gets here to show up. Me, I like to be more fashionably early than fashionably late.
I know, right? Like, I cannot wait to see how beautiful it is going to be in here.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. From what I've managed to see so far, it looks like a great party.
Oh yeah? What have you seen?
He puts his fingers to his lips and winks at you, doing a slight shh.
Oh, she kind of like comes in closer, like for like the secret. Tell me the secret.
Dimitri looks to you, Caleb, and whispers, "Tell me, does he look good enough to justify this?"
I don't know, Matthew. How would Caleb rate him?
He's hot. I'm gonna be blunt with you, man. He's hot.
Honestly, yeah.
Dimitri, you know he's barking up the wrong tree, right?
Dimitri is say he's not even necessarily organically interested. It's more just an objective acknowledgement that this dude's hot.
Caleb just looks to me. She's like, I thought you had your own way of determining that.
I do, but I feel like it'd be weird to ask. Plus, Caleb, looking at him, you're honestly, it's Dimitri's. It'd feel like running your fingers over a cheese grater. Those abs.
No.
He's like, I mean, he honestly does score pretty high now that I really take him in.
Later.
What did he say?
Yeah, I'll have to ask later. And at this point, your attentions are drawn to the doors of the lighthouse, which shift before beginning to open slowly. And you hear a familiar, queenly voice echo out from the building within. So nice of you to join us. Welcome to the Winter Ball. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Yeah, I knew it was coming because I'm like, damn, we're going past time here.
Yeah, I wanted to wait until, the actual, the Winter Ball is beginning moment.
The Winter Ball.
Mm-hmm. The Winter Ball has arrived. The party has made it there a little bit early, beaten only by the mysterious King's Song, who immediately is trying to rizz up everyone who's eligible. So far, the rest of the nobility, other than Sundragon, Autumnfall, and Song, have not arrived yet. However, Song at least appears confident that they'll simply just arrive later so that they'll be here in time for the solstice itself. With that said, the doors have been opened to you, and surrounded by allies, enemies, and neutral parties. The four of you must now dance the dance of politics as the fates of your party, your quest, and your individual kingdoms may hinge on what you say and who you say it to. Before, you were just guests on Tebadron Dime. Now you're here representing factions, representing the Alliance. You have people to disappoint this time. We'll see if over the years you have built up the political skill to do what needs to be done. Check out our website at officiald5hub.info. Down for maintenance at the moment, but soon to be resurrected from the grave like a filthy necromancer who's finally ready to party. Check out our link in chat to join our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly. I will be sending that as soon as the stream concludes. Support our episodes on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, and the iHeart Podcast Network. Wherever you have to get your podcast from, you can probably find them there. So, for our audio listeners, catch us live on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time on twitch.tv/Odd Tornado Productions. Check out Odd Tornado Productions official on Tumblr to find links to our other works, including His Majesty's Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Killer5. That is 5 with a PH, don't get it wrong. And if you enjoy what we do, please support us on Patreon. That link to be posted as well. On Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/Odd Tornado Productions. And follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TornadoOdd. The T and O are capitalized if you want to get immediate updates whenever we go live, as well as updates on everything else we're working on. And if you want to see more of this party, plus or minus a few, tune in Thursdays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time for our Thursday game, Under Locks and Keys, featuring a party of globe-trotting treasure hunters assembling the artifacts of the gods in a race against technology-worshipping cultists. We are coming up on our final few episodes, so you can catch up with everything on our YouTube channel and stick around to see how it all ends. Thanks everyone at the table so much for playing. Thanks everyone at home so much for watching. And we'll see you all next week.